Tim Alden here, back in Burns, Oregon. We got a new earring design and 3 free downloadable patterns on our website. We're going to show you how to carve it today. So let's get started. Okay, so now we're going to do the third pattern for the triangle earring blanks. This one's a little more advanced, got a little bit of scroll work and flower. So once again, it's going to be a good way to practice for the bigger projects. It has the elements that are going to go into a bigger project, and if you practice these little guys, you master your flow and all of your execution of this pattern. Once you go to a bigger pattern, it's going to be a lot easier. Once again, we've covered a piece of paper with packing tape just to seal it. That way the moisture from the leather doesn't make the paper tear too easy, so we're laminating it. I'm going to get the flow of these stems as smooth as possible. Everything kind of falls in the same direction. Alrighty, got that traced on. So now we're ready for our swivel knife work. So go ahead, cut these lines in. So whenever I'm working on stem work, I typically start at the heavy side and lighten up. So what I consider the backbones, and then I taper off, going back to the point of origin. So cut heavy and then just taper off. That'll help when you're beveling, tapering off your lines if they're already tapered a little bit with your swivel knife. Like here, if you cut these backbones, they're always going to be long, and then the fronts are always going to be a little bit shorter. You just roll around and stop. It's important to keep things straight. There's a couple of rules there. Generally, the backbone's always going to be longer than the front line, so you could even cut every other one if they're the same, just plain sticker element there. Be a good way to keep things square as far as what gets cut and how. You can start and stop on a cut as long as you have the same path going. Start up the cut a little bit, get in the groove of things, and roll around. You don't want little kinks where you started and stopped. So the flower center, we just mark that. We don't actually cut that little oval. If you have a flower center punch, it's not necessary to cut it. It's just a placement holder to know we center our flower center when we go ahead and stamp it in. We're going to do that next. So this is it's a Berry King oval flower center. Just going to place that in there. So we just kind of mark that in there. That way when we're beveling and when we're shading our flower center, we don't go too far. So we're going to start off with our small lifter here. And this little turn back, we're going to go ahead and lift it first, and it's going to make it easier to bevel. Then we're going to come in with our number 1 checkered Berry King beveler. We're going to do all our small lines first. Starting out with our fronts. Once again, your beveler, the flat spot of your beveler, is towards the element that you're tooling. So if we're tooling this sticker, the flat part is towards the element. That way we lift the element out of the leather. So this little scroll here can kind of be confusing because this line kind of flows into this line, but you want to start with the finial and roll around, and that will continue to roll all the way around that and become the backbone. Go ahead, come around to the front side of that, and this just rolls around and then stops there. Try to get that a little bit more. Sticker front. So go ahead and do the front of the turn back here. Now, go ahead and do some backbones. I'll actually go ahead and step up to the number 2 checkered beveler. Once again, starting out light on those lines and progressively getting heavier as we get towards the end. Come around and get the backbones the other side. This line right here rolls around, comes under that pedal, goes right there. Looks like we missed one guy right here. Now we're going to go ahead and do our petals of our flower. Okay, once we've done that, go ahead and background these little spots here. Just kind of want to go with the same angle as these stickers here. Not a lot of background in there. So then we'll come back with our smooth thumbprint, and we're going to use the small end. Just lightly going to tap down where we lifted that. We might even pick it back up with the lifter. Kind of mash that a little bit. I'll kind of keep that up. Front of this little sticker here. Around this sticker here. May have to pick that petal up again. Just want to basically set your fingers up and draw right down the middle of that sticker. I'm not putting much pressure on it, I'm just running along there and hitting it as I go. You just want a smooth transition as you roll out of it. These are pretty small elements. You don't have to overdo it. Hit it too hard. Lift this pedal back up a little bit. Run our backgrounder forward just a little bit more there. So now we're going to shade our flower. So we're going to go with our vertical line thumbprint from Barry King. We're just going to go right over those seeds, just barely. Way they overlap it, and we're going to tip it back. Just kind of rotate it side to side. Get some color in there. We're leaving high spots on each side, that way it gives depth to where the petal's rolling in and making it deeper on the inside. So once we got those in, we're going to come back with our flower center, knock it down again, get it good and lined up, set it right there. And then we can come in with our lined veiner, create a little depth in our petals. There's not much petal overlap here, so we're just going to use the corner. Create a little bit of depth there. Go ahead and use our mule's foot, and we're just gonna kind of put it right here where there's a bigger open space. Harder at the top side. Taper in off. Taper in off there. We're going to use our scalloping lined veiner, same one that we sell on our website. I believe it's a 2, but I can't guarantee that. Just going to use the corner of it right over that edge. We're going to roll around. Increasing the angle as we go, just like that. So now we're ready for some swivel knife cuts, and we're done with this little thing. So once again, we're going to come out from the middle. I'm just going to stagger these cuts, radiating out. You can also use your smooth thumbprint to shade the flower center here, but you'll notice with that lined thumbprint, it just adds to these radiating lines coming out. Finer lines underneath the heavier lines, and it just really makes for a nice look. Once again, keeping my blade pretty straight up and down. It's just slightly tipped back. If you go too far, cuts will be really wide and it'll look pretty coarse. So you can keep that pretty low. It's also easier to control and make these cuts. Do some shading lines coming out, cross hatch them a little cut in the front, taper off, a little short cut in the front, taper off with our back cut. Once again, I'm tipping my blade, that way the blade is square to whatever piece I'm cutting. If the leather is unlevel, you just tip your tool to whatever direction. We'll be cutting square to the leather. Okay, nice little earring design. Okay, so we're just gonna hit these with a quick clear coat, saddle lack on all of them. You could use the tan coat if you want a softer finish. I'm just gonna make it quick and easy and do it all once. You can watch our other earring video with teardrop diamond if you want to see the tan coat. Make sure you get a good cover. We're going to go ahead and let those dry for about a half hour. While we take a lunch break, we'll come back and then we're going to antique them. Okay, so we've let these dry with the saddle lack on them over lunch. You can pretty much just leave them the way they are. If you like the lighter color, the color you get with the Sharpies is pretty incredible. It's a lot easier to get smooth and clean with than the paints. We still do use the paints for some projects, but little things like this, it works awesome. So anyway, Sheridan Brown, Fiebing's Antique, wool dauber. We'll go ahead and put it on these guys. Try not to get it on the back. Let that sit there for a bit. Might not be a bad idea to use 2 gloves, but take off the excess with a paper towel. Okay, let that dry overnight or at least a couple hours in a warm temperature, and come back and seal it and put the hardware on. Okay, so we've let our antique dry and they're looking really good. We're going to go ahead and seal them with the final finish of saddle lack over the top. Okay, just like that, we'll let them dry, punch holes in them, put hangers on them, and if you want to see the finished product, you can see them on our website where we sell the blank. We'll have pictures of all the finished products. Thanks for stopping by.